Hey, Queen. So, food for thought for you today. What if that feeling of chaos, right? Like that inner chaos, or even feeling chaotic externally, what if that is exactly what you need to be feeling and experiencing right now? What if? What if this is actually good for you, right? The thing is, everything happens for a reason, right? And unfortunately, when we, listen to others, listen to what the gurus say, listen, especially the spirituality community, they say that feeling chaos is like a negative type energy. You can't manifest that chaotic energy, right? I call it bullshit on that. And here's why. How our minds actually work and how our body works is that everything that we feel and experience in our bodies are actually just signs, messages, and signals from our subconscious or higher self, if that's who you want to call it. And it is just a message that we really need to be paying attention to. And everything that we do is pretty much a reaction to our external environment based on what is going on internally and what we perceive, right? And so looking back, going back into this chaotic energy, what if chaos is exactly what you need to be feeling right now? So if you're feeling, out of control and everything just doesn't seem right, what if that is exactly what you need to be paying attention to? And that is really what you want to focus on instead of trying to fix everything externally, instead of trying to calm it down. What if you just listen to what that chaos is telling you? Because that's a sign, right? That is simply just a sign. It's like, our bodies give us pain. So, for example, we cut ourselves, right? We cut ourselves with a knife, like right here, and we go, ow, 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 that's fucking painful, because it is a sign for that your body is telling you, that your subconscious is telling you to pay attention to that cut. Why? Because you might bleed to death. And pain is just a sign. Pain is just a way of your mind communicating to you that you need to be paying attention. So let me give you an example. Over the past week, I've been starting to feel a little bit chaotic inside, right? It was really good momentum wise in my business and everything else, especially in my relationship, working with it. It was going actually fairly great. The momentum was good. There was a lot of progress until the past weekend, where everything started to feel very chaotic, both in business and relationship, right? And both are very intertwined. It's not just one thing, so it makes sense that it you can feel it in both. And so, really listen to that chaos, because it felt very different. And that feeling of out of control was pretty much just a sign for me to pay attention, a sign for me to slow down, because I really wasn't listening to my intuition. I wasn't fully listening to what my higher self was telling me, my future self. There was something that I was missing deep down, a feeling, a truth within me that really needed to come out. And because that truth had been rattled so hard over the past few weeks, and I wasn't expressing the truth, I wasn't looking at this truth within me. Because of that, it just wanted my attention. And, it was difficult. It was very hard for me to really see that truth within me, that truth that I wasn't fully listening, that I wasn't fully embodying my work, that I wasn't fully embodying what I, what I could be capable of, right? Like I was starting to really make myself feel small and not stepping into what I know I can be capable of. And that chaos was that sign. And personally, chaos is normal for me, right? Being, an ex ER nurse, chaos was everywhere. Chaos for me was normal. Chaos was when I got stuff done. So when that chaos pretty much presented, it was a sign for me that, to pay the fuck attention, because there is something emergent that is happening in my life that needed to be paid attention to. Just the whole, complexity and intricacies of how our mind just communicates. And there's been, interestingly enough, there's been this intuitive nudge within me to talk about emergency nursing, the chaos of it, because really I wasn't listening to the full chaos within me. And so by my mind giving me ideas about the chaos of Emerge and talking about it and posting about it was when I started to really put things together. Remember, your mind is so intelligent. Your intuition, your subconscious mind, your higher self are super duper intelligent, and it's always going to give you signs. It's always going to give you messages in many different ways if you don't listen. And so what is your mind telling you right now? What is that uneasy feeling, that uncomfortable feeling? Now, of course, uncomfortable is part of growing and part of stepping out of your comfort zone. But if there's a distinct feeling between chaos and just a little bit uncomfortable. And so that chaotic feeling, what if you're feeling that? Or look back at the times where you have felt chaotic and what that really was telling you. And what happened with that? What, if you look back, what happened with that? And now, what is that telling you? Really listen in. And I know that you are going to want to avoid it. You're not going to want to face this, because we all, as humans, like to move away from pain. And so we don't like normally just facing this truth, right? And because it's very triggering, and it's through that trigger that you'll actually find something to grow. And going back to the chaos that I experienced this week, it was, such an interesting thing, because after I dealt with that chaos, after I knew what I needed to do, after knowing what truth I was trying to hide from myself and not allowing myself to admit, after I actually admitted it and looked at it straight in the face, it was very painful. It was very triggering. It was not nice. But all feelings flow, right? All feelings shift. And it was a temporary thing that has now led to me breathing better. Like I can physically feel my lungs expanding more. I can feel lighter. I was carrying all that weight because that truth just wanted to come out, and it was getting very heavy energetically. Right. And so because of that, there wasn't space for me to expand. There wasn't space for me to be creative. My creativity really dropped. And that was a sign. Started emotionally eating again, which hasn't happened in a very long time. All of these are signs. And really, what are you paying attention to? Are you paying attention? Are you choosing not to pay attention? And so this is your food for thought today. That chaotic feeling, that feeling of out of control. We all feel that sometimes, right? Like where you just can't fucking handle it. That is a sign. So are you going to stop, even just for a little bit, and take the time, 5-10 minutes, to really look at that? Because once you decide to invest that small amount of time for yourself, you will only have you to thank in the future. So let me know what your thoughts are, or really just think about this.